So what's happening inside Iran's Pickaxe Mountain? It came up this morning in his interview with Fox and Friends, which I happen to know a little bit about. It's another nuclear site, but it's bigger and harder to penetrate than anywhere else. They actually built it in the side of a mountain, 300 feet below the earth. Solid granite surrounding it, just south of Iran's Natanz nuclear facility, which we hit already. That's what makes it so significant. Its depth has raised questions about whether even America's most powerful bunker busters could reach it. Joining us now to discuss this and more, former Trump Deputy National Security Advisor Victoria Coates and founder and president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Cliff May. Cliff, Pickaxe is coming up. It's got to be addressed. The Netanyahu reported yesterday that he has schematics and details about centrifuges being moved in there, possibly with uranium. What should everyone know about it at home?
Yeah, what you said, that it's a harder target than was Fordo. It's deeper under the mountain. But there are ways that this can be addressed. There's always an Achilles heel to these facilities. Ventilation shafts, although evidently Pickaxe has only one. Fordo had two. Our bombs went through the ventilation shaft, not through the rock. There's always the entrance as well. You can block up the entrance. Can they dig it out? Sure, but you could hit the bulldozers and the people operating them as well. So this can be addressed. I'm glad that whatever Mossad has learned and whatever Netanyahu has is sharing with the United States. We do not want, Trump does not want this regime to have nuclear weapons, and I'll be very blunt about why. If they have nuclear weapons, they'll use them. If they have intercontinental ballistic missiles, they'll be a threat to the United States.
Victoria, they say possibly one bunker buster after the other bunker buster could do the damage to possibly bury this uranium in those centrifuges, too.
Well, Brian, good to be with you. Good to see you, Cliff. I think what we're talking about here are the massive ordnance penetrator bombs at the B-2s that were so effective last year in Operation Midnight Hammer, that we would be looking at that as the tool of choice. And yes, you'd need to do a multi-layered bombing campaign. And it might be, as Cliff says, to render the site inaccessible, but it's certainly within the capabilities of the United States. But importantly, those are our unique capabilities. So I think that's going to be the commander-in-chief's decision if he decides to use that.
Right. Real quick, Cliff, we might link these two wars now. Now you have Ukraine hitting an Iran boat, ship full of weapons that were going to Russia, and then Iran promising retaliation on that. Is there a chance of these two wars coming together?
These two wars have come together. The Ukrainians have been fighting not just the Russians, but also the North Koreans, as you know. Also, the Iranian regime, that's where the Shahed drones came from. Also, the Chinese, who have been helping the Russians. And similarly, the U.S. and Israel, in fighting the regime in Tehran. That regime has the backing of the Russians, of the North Koreans, probably in terms of the tunnels in particular, and, of course, of Beijing. So at FDD, we call this the axis of aggressors, four regimes that have very different ideologies and theologies, but they all want to see American power diminished.
Two allies are emerging real quick, Victoria. Israel willing to fight and Ukraine willing to fight and willing to watch our back, too. Final thought real quick.
No, I think amazing that both Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Zelensky were present today. That in many ways was Senator Graham's final gift to President Trump to enable those very important meetings. And real quick, Brian, the other person nobody's talking about is President Alexander Stubb of Finland was there, one of the most recent entrants into NATO. Finland's doing everything right vis-a-vis NATO. Another important tribute to Senator Graham.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That'll be an unfolding situation. We're in a pause for now.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.